as a doctor, as someone who's got an eyewitness account of what's taking place in Gaza.
This is not anti-Semitism when we talk about Zionist Israeli state killing people on your land. You cannot take any medical supplies. They were taking out baby formula from the bags. He said, give us food and then kill us. Give us food and then kill us. And you would see the brain coming out because he was directly attacked. But we demand that we be let in so that we can tell the world what's going on in Gaza.
Who would have thought that Marjorie Taylor Greene would be calling it a genocide and Bernie Sanders would refuse to call it a genocide?
We have to reach to this right MAGA base, which Allah has opened it wide open in front of us. This absolute fear of losing American dream, that is, I feel like the cornerstone of our problems. At least know what is here, what we are standing up for. And that is that the Masjid al-Quds, that belongs to us. This is their goal. This is their mission. That is what they are living for.
Dr Bilal Piracha has just returned from a haunting trip to Gaza. He shares the stark reality. Dr Piracha is an emergency medicine doctor, also teaching at the University of Texas, and serves as a representative with the Islamic Circle of North America, ICNA, on the Council of Social Justice.
Dr Bilal Piracha, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, and welcome to the Thinking Muslim.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. Jalal, thank you very much for having me here.
Well, Jazakallah khair. I'm really looking forward to today's conversation, even though it's a very bleak conversation. For those of our viewers who don't know, and I've been in Texas now for around a week, and subhanAllah, I think I've seen you probably every day or every other day for this past week, either at the masjid, talking about your time in Gaza. You are a doctor, and you've been to Gaza now on 3 separate occasions. I've seen you at a press conference. We've obviously met outside. So subhanAllah, you are very much involved in the advocacy work as a doctor, as someone who's got an eyewitness account of what's taking place in Gaza. And mashallah, I would say that you're really spreading the word of what's happening there in Gaza. Now, you've been to Gaza on 3 separate occasions, and the last occasion was very recently. Tell us a little bit about that trip, but more importantly, what's changed from the first and second time you were in Gaza to today, to the last visit? What's changed in terms of the people and their position and their condition in Gaza?
Okay. Thank you very much again for having me on this show. It's really an honor. And welcome to Texas. As we say here, welcome home. So we are really excited to have you here. And yes, as you said, like sort of it was 3rd time. And first time when we went, it was last year, March, during Ramadan. And we went through at that time through Rafah. So it was going through Cairo. We had some difficulty at Cairo airport of taking the medical supplies. But overall, it was pretty smooth. We were able to take a lot of bags. Then from Cairo, early morning, you leave and you go through all the way, about 5-6 hours drive through Sinai Desert, feeling the history being unfolded in front of you, how the whole nation of Prophet Musa went through that, and they were lost there for 40 years due to the reasons we all know. But then there we went through Rafah border. At that time, Rafah was open. It was a few months before it got destroyed. And that was pretty smooth process. We went through the Egyptian side, and then obviously Palestinian side were all welcoming. We were able to take a lot of bags full of medical supplies, which were real crucial for the inside. Second time, last July, we went through Jordan. Things were entirely changed at that time. You go through the Jordan border, and then crossing the Jordan and then Israeli border there can be a long process. It's like sort of we start early morning, 6 a.m., and then you go on the UN bus, where a lot of the UN projects, they're all going together. And then and most of them will be like non-Muslim UN workers who are passionate to work in Gaza still in these conditions. So it is heartening to see that. But the other all process is deliberately designed to dishearten, discourage that you dare not to come back. So then you will go through that, the bags check first on the Jordanian side, and on the Israeli side, you cannot take any the supplies, medical supplies. This time in particular, they were taking out baby formula from the bags. And you can imagine like what kind of the humans will be who are making sure the starvation in each and every micro level. Finally, when you are able to go through all those back checks, many hours of just sitting there and waiting, then when you cross just that border building, then there will be another bus, and then in that bus you will cross you will go through Israel. You will see the board in there saying Jerusalem this side, and you really want to go there, but you cannot because you're not allowed to get the bus stopped on the way. All the way it will go to the border. And then there at the border of like Karim Shalom crossing, basically, this time in particular, you come across the Israeli soldiers. They will come in your bus with their guns, and they will go through your papers and check you, and then you get off. So interesting thing, when I was like at that Israeli building, a lady came to me, like Palestinian sister, who was from US, and she said, like, are you sure about this? I said, yeah. I'd be like, why not? So this Kiffeyeh is still wearing that. And when I crossed and when I was putting my bags in the bus, then our Palestinian other sister, who sort of like coordinates all that movement from one to the other, she said, there you are going to come across the combat soldiers, and they are who they are. So I request you to please take it off. I said, okay, for you, I will take off. So there, when when we reached the Karim Shalom, so this time, as I said, particularly entering was much even harder than last July. Last July was pretty hard too. And then when you enter there, the armored cars will be waiting for you in the parking lot. But we kept waiting in bus for a long time because they did not get clearance to come from the UN house to there to pick us up. And then you walk through the parking lot with your 2 bags, and you cannot come back. So everything is there. You are surrounded by the Israeli army there with their guns, and you go and sit the armored cars quickly. And then again, you may wait in the cars for many hours until get the clearance, and then you enter. And now when you enter, the destruction, like absolute destruction everywhere. So last year when we entered in Rafah, still Rafah was standing. There, the life, obviously the shops were closed. You can imagine, feel, sense, hear drone going around that you are in the war zone. But then when with July we entered, we felt that, yes, we are really in the war, not only in the zone. And now you enter, when this time the Khan Yunis completely destroyed Rafah, even you cannot go there, and the other Gaza city. So in nutshell, entering there is a big difference, and then the situation there on ground is much worse than you can even imagine from the last year.
Assalamu alaikum. I need your help. Our videos are currently being suppressed on this platform, which means they're not appearing as frequently as they used to. In fact, over the past 2 months, there's been a significant drop in impressions. Now, experts tell us this is due to a proactive decision. To resolve this, I need you all to subscribe to this channel. Over 60% of our regular viewers are still not subscribers. And crucially, please click on the bell notification so you don't miss any future episodes. My commitment to you is that I will continue to provide free, thought-provoking content, but I need you to spread the word, comment, and keep an eye out for our shows. Jazakallah khair.
SubhanAllah. And in terms of the condition of the people,
yes,
you talked a little bit about the starvation. We know now that the Israelis are purposely starving the population in Gaza. You would have witnessed that on your last visit. Just describe what you saw in terms of starvation and malnutrition.
Like sort of the first declared starvation or malnutrition death happened in front of our eyes.
Really?
Yes. So that was a kid who got the news got on the Al Jazeera as well. Maybe you would have seen that as well, with his eyes open and don't know he's live or dead. And it was our pediatrician colleague who was there when he took his last breath. So as you may have heard before in my talks, so on July 19th, the nurses and the doctors there, they told me that today is the last day we are going to get meal from World Central Kitchen.
Right.
And World Central Kitchen had been providing meal throughout this time, at least one meal to the healthcare workers. And you can imagine what kind of meal it could be, just some rice or some lentils or something just to call it a meal. And that was the day, like first time. Since last time when I came and whenever I talk, I always have talked about hope, and still I'm talking about hope. But that day I saw the hopes dimming on their faces, smiles fading away, because they said that, from today, we don't know what will happen. And that nurse, many people said, but one nurse, and when you are talking to them, you remain confused that, what are their actual feelings. So he was smiling, but you could feel that pain deep there. He said, give us food and then kill us. Give us food and then kill us. And we were sitting in the ICU. And I was like sort of a little shaken by that. But still I thought that this is just metaphorical. Who in the world would do that? Still we had the belief in the humanity. But just a few days ago, I read the news in the newspaper that a nurse from that same hospital, Shohada's hospital, father of 4, was trying to get food for his family, standing in the middle, on the ground, and an air pellet, so-called aid, was coming down, which hit his chest, and he was killed right away. And not only that, but the people ran over him to get the food. His brother told that he was crushed completely there. So that was the situation of the hunger which we saw, and our team, we went with Heroic Hearts, and they were able to, and they are still able to run the kitchen at that time, particularly with the local produce. But you could see themselves that they're frail they were looking, and you talk to anybody else, you can see and you can feel that they have not eaten maybe in days, or obviously eaten very less. And you could see the kids running around, but how weak and frail they will be. So the absolute hunger this time was unquestionable there, because you could see the blockade of the food is really in play there.
And maybe this sounds like a very simplistic and an obvious question, but why?
Yes.
Why have they withdrawn food from the people of Gaza? Why have they withdrawn food from the medical workers in Gaza? What's the objective there?
Yes. I just texted before our interview to Engineer Ayad. He is NGO's coordinator as well as a journalist. And I asked him the latest situation. And he sent a pretty good long written detailed analysis. And we will talk about that in detail as well if we get time. But most important thing is to break the hope, to break the resilience. That is the whole planning there. Like he said that these attacks of which are called fire belt, that the attacks happening each and every second. And there is a story of the ambulance driver, very inspiring story. But how he told that they will get the attack, and they know that after this attack there will be another attack coming, and then yet the drivers will go in there to get the dead bodies. But that's how exactly it is planned, and it happened, which you just saw in Nasser Hospital, that they attacked, and then that was a sort of a bait to get other workers there.
Double tap.
Tap. Yeah, exactly. That's what the name is. So that was so this is what also coming directly to your question.
Yeah.
Using hunger as weapon. This is called weaponization of hunger, which we saw by our eyes. Gaza Humanitarian Foundation is nothing but the absolute weapon for the hunger to, number one, not only kill by hunger, but also make you humiliated, ridiculed, and completely demoralized by hunger, and then kill.
If you're enjoying the episode, you're going to love this next clip. Assalamu alaikum, my name's Arham, and I'm one of the co-hosts of our brand new project, the Thinking Youth Podcast. And to make our launch successful, we need your help. Make sure to support us by subscribing to the Thinking Youth Podcast.
So the idea is to demoralize this spiritual resistance that existed. For over a year now, for 19 months, we've been talking about the resilience and the hope and the amazing qualities of the people of Gaza. Look, I would say if I was in hunger, I don't know what my state of mind would be. When you left Gaza, and I would imagine you left very reluctantly, but when you left Gaza, what was the state of mind of the ordinary person?
So that nurse which I mentioned you, and again, like I did not have the courage to call back and find out that the nurse who got killed was the same nurse or not. I hope not. But how does it differ? But the words he said, not only that they give us food and kill us, but he said that we come here hungry, our kids are hungry back at home, and we go back hungry. So obviously you can imagine that how you can work, how you can survive, and that's why you will put your life at risk. The story of like a young lady who has been working with me all these times as the translator. The first time when I was there, almost all lost and like, all the injured on the floor in the ER. And I always say when they ask me that, where have you come from? So I would say, أنا جاء من الأمريكا أصلي من الباكستان مولود الطائف ودمي فلسطيني. But it means that I have come from United States. I'm originally from Pakistan, but I was born in Saudi Arabia and my blood is Palestinian. And then I will say that I know Arabic shoya, which means I know some Arabic. So that sister was watching me, and then she came. She said, like, do you need help for the translation? I said, definitely. She said, like, I have returned from, I was studying in the US and now I'm back here. And since then, whenever I go back, we get connected and she helps me out. But this time on her WhatsApp profile, there was a picture with her dad, somebody looking like her dad. And it was said, Allahu yarhamk abi. Oh, Allah, have mercy on my dad. And I could not, ask what's going on. But when I went there, she said that her brother, who was 15-year-old, he could not see us anymore, the hunger. And he's wanted to go to that so-called Humanitarian Foundation. And my father was always holding him back. But one day he sneaked out with his friends. And when my father later found out at nighttime, he ran after him. But it was too late for him, for the father. Thankfully, the brother ultimately was able to come back. But the father, he got attacked and killed in all the middle of nowhere. And then she said, like, obviously the phone were not working, and she was trying to find him everywhere. Finally, she found him in Nasser Hospital, and he had passed away.
And so let's just talk about the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation, because, of course, it's still believed here in the West, in the mainstream media. I mean, I've been watching CNN and the mainstream channels, and it's horrid, the narrative that still persists on these channels. But the Israeli narrative, which seems to still have some currency here in America, at least, I think the Europeans have realized it's all nonsense. The narrative is that we've set up these centers where we provide humanitarian aid, and there is no reason for the people of Gaza to be starving. But it seems like what you've indicated there, and what everyone else is saying, and is that these centers are really places to annihilate. It's a way of targeting Palestinians. Is that simply what it is?
Exactly. So when I was talking to the doctor, nurses, like the healthcare workers there, and almost nobody told me that they have gone there or anyone they know have gone there and come back with food. This sister, as I mentioned, yes, these kind of the stories that someone ended up going due to some reason and they came back dead. And we could see like one day, I mean, like those, the victims were there, I mean, like of all the injuries, and there was somebody lying on the floor in the ER, and he had a big like gauze on his forehead. And as quickly as you're seeing, like you don't know like whether he's alive or dead. So I quickly like removed that gauze, hoping that there will be like a small wound and we will be able to save him or something like that. But when I removed the gauze, there was that big of a hole, and you could see the brain coming out because he was directly attacked there at Gaza Humanitarian Foundation when I asked people what happened. So that's how the snipers, the IDF, they are present there. And as Colonel Aguilar, who was the American contractor at Gaza Humanitarian Foundation, and he had given multiple interviews there, he has very rightly said, and that's what I was told there by the people, as well as I noticed, that those centers, the killings not happening just by coincidence. They are designed exactly like that to kill people. So they will be entered. They will be forced to walk many miles to reach there, and before reaching, and that's why always the foundation will say, nothing happened in our center. We don't know. No, yeah, you know very well. But yes, it did not happen on your center. It happened a couple of kilometers before that, where IDF is stationed and situated to keep killing and keep firing all that area, whoever is coming there. And when they will come inside, there will be just food, as the people told. So there will be some food just on the floor. There will be nobody giving, no system at all in place. And they will come around and go around, and whatever is present there, they will try to grab it. Obviously, you can imagine only the strong could have gotten whatever they could, not the women and the children. But once they get out of that station, again they are in the line of fire, and not only by the guns but by the tanks and by the crop copters. And crop copters are what? They are like the running, the flying machines on the drones. Flying gun machines have been placed there, and they are not only being used there, but everywhere else to remote control, kill people.
Yeah, this sounds dystopian. It sounds like the world watches on as the Israelis one by one kill Palestinians.
Exactly. And that's what the World Food Program and other the UN agencies and other aid programs, they all have said that this Gaza Humanitarian Foundation is designed to make starvation worse. And that was an independent research study as well done, and an independent center for that was the Famine Control Center, and they have said that the way the foundation centers have been placed and designed and being run, they are making sure for the starvation to happen, not to help that.
Dr. Bilal, I at the very beginning of this crisis, we used to watch the social media feeds, and I found myself slowly passing those feeds because it just became more and more horrific. And I think I made a conscious decision a few months back that I need to watch these feeds, because otherwise my heart becomes hardened, and you become cold you become numb to the atrocities that are taking place there. You must have seen some horrible situations. Just tell me about some of the stories that linger in your mind since your return.
As I mentioned, this gentleman who was there on the floor and with the skull open and brain coming out with direct attack. The other one, this time, it was around 3 a.m. and I was in my room, and I had told the ER doctors and that whenever there is any, God forbid, mass casualty, which is every day, so just call me. But 3 a.m. there was a massive loud explosion. You could feel our building got shaken, and I could imagine that it's just little far away from the hospital. And then I just quickly ran out. I saw there were some civilians who are taking shelter in the hospital. So that family was running around and they were looking panicked. So I quickly changed and ran to the ER. And there, when I reached there, the family who was neighbor there, we were staying in the hospital, their mother, she was crying on a dead body coming out of the ER at that time. So she had already reached there before I reached. And then there were two kids there. I think one was maybe 7 years or 6 years, and the other kid is a 3-year-old. 3 to 4 year old. So the one with the I think 7-year-old, his again the same thing. It was covered by the gauze on the belly, and I removed it, and the whole bowel was out. He was still alive, and there was we were hopeful. Thankfully, we sort of saved him right at that time. And then the other kid had his full arm fractured, and he was also obviously crying. And quickly we examined them, and then we were able to send them to the OR. Our other colleague from Heroic Heart, the orthopedic surgeon, he then later went to the surgery, and then he came back and he told me that the elder kid situation is pretty bad, although the general surgeon were there, the orthopedic were there, but he said hopefully the younger we will be able to save. And then we got further all the report that what happened and all that. So there was a family just staying little far from our hospital in a tent. Their mother, the grandmother of the kids, she, with her husband and another son here, and her son and wife, they were attacked. They both got shaheed there. And then those were the two sons. Out of that son also got shaheed later on, although initially we were able to save him after the surgeries. And now out of all that family, that little kid, he was only left behind. And then particularly it remained in our, in our memories is always there because we saw the kid every day. Obviously, because his grandmother was there and she was taking care of him. The way he had like the wig here, and I think he had like them Foley's in place and multiple other lines, and I think he had a leg injury as well. So they will be holding him, taking him for the treatment and coming back. Thankfully, within 2 weeks, he was able to walk around all right, and he did smile to us, and that smile is, that precious smile was the reward of all what we could do. But obviously, the pain always remains there.
SubhanAllah. Do you see yourself as a doctor or a journalist, an activist, or a witness?
I think everything. I see that Allah has really given me opportunity to be at the forefront. I tell my friends, I don't tell many, but I think that when I came to the to US, one of the reasons I wanted to go to the emergency was that one day, hopefully, that hopefully it does not happen, but if it happens, the situation like this where we are needed in the forefront, so hopefully I may be there. So Allah gave us this chance, but obviously this opportunity and this, these kind of chances, they come with the responsibility, and that's what I feel like when I'm back here.
Right.
That just going there, saving few lives, and honestly, every time when I go back there, I feel like me coming here, it's maybe making me feel better that I'm doing something, but we are not able to do much by just going there to change the situation. I really feel bad about myself, obviously, first of all, and all other colleagues, because we have to plan things in a way that we are thinking 3 to 6 months in advance that we want to go back to Gaza. But what does it mean? It means that we have taken it for granted that this is keep going on, and we are now planning our whole life like that. So coming back to your question directly, I feel myself, I'm a philanthropist. And a philanthropist who is somebody who sort of like believes in a cause for the humanity, and then he gives all of himself for that cause in whatever way possible.
Yeah.
And that's how I'm a doctor, I'm a movement worker, I'm a relief worker, witness, and then talking here about the mission.
Yeah. Can I ask you about your return? You live here in America, as you've just suggested. You're a doctor here. You live here within the Dallas community. Mashallah, I've seen you with the local community groups, with ICNA, with the big national organization. Do you perceive that Gaza is a burning cause for the people around you? I'm not talking about your organization. I'm just generally our community here in the United States. Is there a deep sort of feeling that we need to be doing something, or has it become background noise, as it has probably become in the UK?
Even before going there, this was my feeling, and then when came back, that even grew up, and sadly, and I don't blame anybody, but there was when we came back, the brothers having pool parties, those things going on as if nothing is happening. At the same time, I really feel and believe that everybody's aching in the heart. And we really feel embarrassed when the brothers and sisters, they come to us and say that you were there, and we appreciate that. And we really feel that we have done nothing. But at least it shows that they have that pain, and they feel that happiness that somebody on their behalf has been able to go there.
Yeah.
So this I would say, this common pain, which absolutely has brought everybody together as Muslim Ummah, and ultimately the whole humanity. But talking about U.S., I have a belief in that yes, everybody's aching and everybody wants to do something. At the same time, we had been saying in the beginning that what we are talking is just an echo chamber and it's going around and coming around in our own circles. But sadly, our even echo chambers are silent now. And that is affecting. Like, it's not those echo chambers are insignificant. When the echo chambers are silent, obviously there is no voice going outside. So that's why you're absolutely right. As you notice, and we both were here in a national, Jewish organization conference, and we felt that Gaza was just on the side note. Similarly, another big convention happening, and they had invited me to speak on that. But overall, again, if you see that the Gaza is nowhere.
I would just like to say, I mean, you're way too polite to say this, but this is a national organization that's holding a massive conference for 10, 20,000 Muslims, and you were given 5 minutes to talk about Gaza.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, that for me is unfathomable that you've got so many Muslims present and Gaza hasn't factored anywhere in the itinerary.
That's right. That's right.
I mean, it begs the question, do you feel that American Muslims are just not doing enough?
I would say that as a common American Muslim here, they have done pretty good in the beginning particularly, and still many they're trying their best. But maybe the leadership is failing them. I mean, like, we have obviously like the voices like Imam Umar Sulaiman and other, like we Dr. Yasir Qazi and multiple others we can talk about. But collectively, as the leadership, individual as well as organizational level, that leadership could have rallied big movement from all the Muslims, and if that movement of the Muslims could have brought all the Americans together by now.
Yeah.
Although there is some progress, and we will talk on that later, that ICNA is taking now lead, and hopefully that will be shaping the new movement. But yes, till now, the leadership, the religious, the political, the cultural, everybody. For example, like, again, coming back to the doctors, I may be in trouble with my friends, but our, like, the Pakistani doctor, we have a big organization. Everybody knows about that.
Yeah.
But all their conferences and all their, conventions, everything is going on as if nothing is happening in the world. The singing and the music and all that is going on. While I will talk to many of their members, and everybody's aching for Gaza. They want to go there. But the leadership is not giving them an avenue to do something for them.
Maybe this next question is not an appropriate question, but it's something I've been thinking about, because of course everyone knows that this country, more than any country, is probably the most complicit when it comes to, I'm not saying the American people, I'm saying the American establishment. They're far more complicit when it comes to what's happening in Gaza. In that sense, you live in a country where that complicity is very apparent. From an accountability perspective, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will question us on our capabilities, our abilities, about what we can do and where we can do it. Like, do you feel that there is a greater accountability on your neck? I mean, subhanAllah, you do a lot of work, but on your neck as well as the neck of those of your peers in this country.
Absolutely. When our kids do the exams here, or we, the USMLE exam, our kids do the STAR exam and all that. So there, as the exam, if you keep doing good, the exam keeps getting more difficult. So absolutely like that, on the American Muslims lies the biggest responsibility. There is no doubt about that. As they say, we are in the belly of the beast. And they say in a positive way, but I think, like, if you are engulfed in the beast belly and you're content with that, you don't want to, tame the beast, or you don't want to come out of the beast. There are no other option. Either you get the beast to do what you want to do, which is good for the humanity, which is the truth, which is the justice, which is the freedom, And if you're not able to make the beast do that, then get out from here. And that is another. This is another whole topic of discussion about hijrah and maybe some other time.
Yeah.
But the point is that maybe that American dream and that fear that we may not lose being individually as well as on the level of big organizations, this absolute fear of losing American dream, that is, I feel like, the cornerstone of our problems.
Yeah,
And that is what I feel like the President Trump is using exactly. That like sort of number one, to get the visa holders and then the green card holders and then the denaturalization, so that he knows, or that those racist the racist rulers of the country, they know that this is the problem. This is where this is the weak point of those who talk about all these big words, fancy words of justice, freedom, truth. But as soon as the American dream will come, everything will shatter.
Can I talk to you about what we can do as a Muslim ummah, and in particular in your case as American Muslims? Now, of course, there have been demonstration, protests, and these need to continue. And I think they're very important in showing solidarity. But also there's work amongst the political elites. And until now, it maybe seems to me that American Muslims have largely found alliances amongst the left. But there is this growing consensus on the right, it seems to me. Tucker Carlson and the journalists and the YouTubers are now talking in a way in which we would never have imagined 5 years ago even. Who would have thought that Marjorie Taylor Greene would be calling it a genocide and Bernie Sanders would refuse to call it a genocide? I mean, we spoke about this the other day. So there is a movement, a change, a development on the right for whatever reason, and we can go into that. But for whatever reason, like how much effort, especially a place like Texas, where the right belong. I mean, this is a heartland base for Donald Trump. How much effort is being made on the right to bring them to our demonstrations, to make them pressurize their government into stopping this relationship, I think, with Israel?
There's an absolutely critical question. And that is where, for the last 20 years, I would say, after 9/11, we were told that our survival is on becoming politically active. We have to get our candidates there. We have to fund. We have to do that. We have to do that. But what was not being said, but was being done all those 20 years, that our survival is only with the left, is only with the Democrats. And this was, I would say, the one good thing of all this genocide, that it started when Democrats were in the power.
Yeah.
And they remain in power about 1.5 years, but it's kept on going, and they did not do absolutely anything. And last year, before going in February, we had a big rally in Austin, and there I was one of the speakers, and I mentioned about a writer who wrote a book on Biden. And he said that I have met Biden recently, and I told him that below 32 years of the age, everybody is talking about Gaza. And he said that if you do not do anything, you will be removed and you will be not able to win the election, as exactly it happened during Vietnam War. That you did not listen to the public and the public threw you off. And that is exactly the situation, as you mentioned, that on the right side, we did not make absolutely any effort to penetrate the right. Only Allah has opened the ways. This is where, they always say that where is Allah in the equation? And those things like the representative which took the name, Tucker Carlson and everybody else. I would like to read a quote and ask you, guess who said that? You can bring it on. You can bring it on. I'm totally ready for this. And this is a fight that I will fight. And I will give it my all. And I can guarantee you, you're going to lose because America is fed up. What do you think? Sorry, I'm asking you a question.
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, I would imagine it's someone from the right.
Exactly, that's what I'm asking. So the one you told, U.S. Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene,
Wow.
She said these words, and who? None other than AIPAC. She's talking to American-Israel political, committee who are literally buying the politicians here, both sides of the aisle.
Yeah.
And that is important to know that this dissatisfaction, and as Steve Bannon, who was a chief strategist for Trump, and he is basically the driver of the far-right movement. And he is no doubt about that he is a driver of the Islamophobic sentiments in the far right.
Yes.
But he said that below 30 years, everybody's fed up with this right. And they are the people who basically are close to the public pulse. And basically that is on both sides, both right and left. There had been a complete frustration and disillusionment of this political, cultural, and economical, the elites' hegemony, who have taken over the whole politics. And we say that this is a democracy, but basically we say it's a plutocracy where the elections can be literally bought. So-called, you have the limit on everybody that you cannot give more than, I think, $5,000 per candidate individually. But at the same time, you can make any PAC, and like Elon Musk, you can give billions of dollars, and everybody will be in your pocket. So that resentment, that revolt is going on both sides. And that's where Bernie Sanders came on the left side. And his was not me, us, or our revolution, where that dissatisfaction and frustration in the African Americans, in the Hispanics, as well as the Muslims, they all became his power. On the right side, for Trump, the MAGA movement, Make America Great Again, that is those frustrated working class white Americans.
Yeah.
So this is a complete big opportunity open in front of us. And honestly, still we are not doing anything. Personally, we are trying that we reach out to Representative Marjorie Taylor, and I hope she listens to this somehow and just reaches to her, that we really want to meet her as the American doctors and nurses, that we meet her and tell the stories from there. I hope that the American doctor who is right now, the American nurse, the white American nurse, non-Muslim, who is right now there, and we talked with her, all of those of us American doctors and nurses who have been back from Gaza. We have a little organization, Healthcare Workers for Humanity. So we had an emergency meeting with that American nurse and the UK doctor, both ladies, who are there now, only two international, when the attack on Nasser Hospital happened. And that attack was deliberately planned and designed when the international team left, and other international team was blocked, so that there was no international doctor there, and they attacked the hospital, killing 20 people. These two ladies are in another hospital, and people were panicking there that, are you planning to leave? And we, honestly speaking, we said, we don't think you getting killed will do anything for the war. So save yourself, you have the family, get out. But they said, if we, being the human shields, can save some people, we are not moving from there. So I hope that American nurse, when she comes back, she goes and talks to Marjorie Taylor, Representative Marjorie Taylor, and she hears from us. I hope we reach to Tucker Carlson. I hope he listens to us and he invites us. We just want to sit. We just wrote today a letter to President Trump. We are hundreds of those doctors who have been to Gaza and the nurses. We wrote a letter to President Biden before, and as if he did not never know. But we are writing another letter to President Trump asking him that we want to come talk with you, tell you what we have seen, just on the basis of humanity and nothing else.
You're an emergency doctor here in America, and that's your day job. And from our last conversation, you talked about how you wear this kiffeyeh to work every day, as you wear it now. Do people that, I would imagine you largely work with Muslims and non-Muslims, do your patients recognize what you're wearing, and what sort of reactions do you get from them?
Yes. I mean, it's sort of it's my day and night job.
Oh, that's right.
So I work in a university hospital. If it's a little out of Dallas, in a sort of, you can say, redneck area.
Oh.
And I think since not October 2023, but maybe November, December, October 2023, I have been wearing this because I felt that we go to the rallies and everywhere where everybody is wearing this, and then we come and pack it and put it somewhere else. So what's the benefit of it? So there have been pretty good conversations on base of that. And it does open up a lot of people. And generally speaking, hate has not come out.
No way.
Generally speaking, hate has not come out.
Because we would imagine in Texas,
Yes,
there would be a lot of hate.
No.
There's not much hate.
yeah. So just the story, like sort of when I was going to Gaza this time, before that, I was doing my last shift at that university hospital. And I entered a room with a white couple, old couple, and that gentleman was pretty sick. So his wife, white lady, so when I started asking like what's going on and this and that, and obviously we are in hurry always as the ER docs, and she was just looking at me. So I said, okay, something is wrong. And then she said, she pointed like to my neck. I said, okay, be ready. She said, I like this. I said, okay. So many a times people say that I like this, you're looking good, like you're looking well put. And then I ask them, do you know what it is? And then there I try to start the conversation. So I said, do you know what it is? She said, I very well know what it is. And I am for Gaza. I'm standing up for Gaza. Every day I watch the news, I listen to that. My heart's ache. And then we kept going on and on and on. And we forgot about the poor old man there who was lying on the bed.
Yes.
And then the next day, when I was in the flight from Dallas to Chicago to get the flight to Jordan, so I use it for multi-purpose things. Sometimes I like open it up and put it as the prayer rug. And during the flight, I will wrap around my eyes and just sleep, so I don't need any eye shield anymore. So I was sleeping in the middle of the seat, and then another white lady was sitting next to me. So before landing, when I woke up, I said, I have to get off and I have to catch an international flight. So she said, where are you going? And then again, we started talking. And then she asked about this, that you are wearing this. What does it mean? Why do you do that? So overall, I really, and then like, again, same thing she said. That is where, like, again, coming back to your previous question, people are waiting for us to reach to them. We were like talking again for a long time. And she said, like, I really don't want to watch, but I'm watching, as you said, that I want to watch. I don't want to watch, but I want to watch what's going on by our tax dollars, how we are killing the kids, how long it will. So that is the point, that this only one or two occasions I remember where somebody gave some bad comment or something like that. But otherwise, because of this, I have been able, I would say maybe hundreds of people just open the conversation, and then obviously we go from there.
So because there is this shift, I mean, I spoke to, we know James Bell, and you introduced me to him, and I interviewed him, and it seems to me very clearly that there is a shift now, especially amongst younger right-wing and left-wing, but right-wing in particular individuals. How do we get these people to be more vocal? How do we bring them to demonstrations? How do we make it very clear to the administration that this is not in our name, and there needs to be a disconnect? We need to disconnect, have a disconnect between Israel and America.
Yes, that is the crucial thing which we have to figure it out.
Yeah.
And that James Bell, whom you mentioned, he sort of like came to us. So it was, again, another interesting story is behind this, that I was going to sign out to a white doctor when he took over. Very interesting guy, and we started talking, and again, the talks went to Gaza and all that. And then he said, do you know, in Irving, there is a casino being built? I said, I had little idea, but I showed that, yes, I know everything. But so he said that who is building that casino? And I did not know that. So he said that the lady who is the biggest supporter, one of the biggest supporters of Trump, she is the one who is behind that casino. And the money which they will get from casino, that will go to Gaza and kill your kids. And then he asked, what are you guys doing? So basically, that James Bell, he is like representing conservative Christians of this area. And he, along with that doctor whom I'm talking about, along with another politician who was running for city council here, though 3-4 people, they ran the whole campaign of the conservative Christians, and they basically mobilized us. And then in last Ramadan, we jammed and packed the city council hall, and they had to take that casino resolution back. Otherwise Texas casinos are not allowed, and it was going to happen here. And if they were succeeded here, it would have been a floodgate of casinos all over Texas. So those kind of the people who match our values, And that is where our biggest, I would say, due to the fear, as I mentioned before, we caved in and we put all our eggs in Democrats' basket, whether it be LGBTQ or whatever, like all those extreme left agendas. And again, we really respect them and we like them. We want them to be with us, but neither they have to give up their values, nor we should be forced to give up our values. But we gave up our values just to please them. So now this right side, our and their values are very much aligned in many things. So this James Bell, whom you mentioned, these are the right-sided white people who came yesterday, and you asked like how to start the movement. And yesterday you mentioned about that press conference. So thankfully in that press conference we had James Bell. We had many pastors there. We had Jew as well, Jewish Voice for Peace, and multiple other diverse representation. And we requested them that you open your doors for us. We, again, the doctors and nurses who have been to Gaza from all different backgrounds, all different religions, we come and talk to you. So this is very important that we reach out to the bases here. Generally speaking, there are conservatives here, practicing religious Christians here. So we talk to them. We tell them that nobody's safe here. Like the Holy Church, I worked in that hospital, Al-Ahli Hospital, which is also called Baptist Hospital. So it is like sort of considered like the Christian funded hospital in a way. But I was there, and this Holy Church Hospital is very close to there. And when this happened, we were there in Gaza when they attacked the Holy Church Hospital. And thankfully, the cerebral palsy kids who are taking refuge in the church for a long time, the classroom and the room and the kitchen, that was attacked. Thankfully, they were out for the activities. So that is what we need to tell the Christians. That is what we need to tell the Americans, that this is not anti-Semitism when we talk about Zionist Israeli state killing people on your name. We need to talk about Yair Lapid, the opposition leader of Israel, who said what kind of nation we are, who are starving and killing the kids in Gaza. That is the Israeli opposition leader. If you read the Israeli newspapers, Haaretz, what they talk every day about the atrocities of Gaza. So definitely we have to reach to this right MAGA base, which Allah has opened it wide open in front of us. And that is where it comes the responsibility, as you asked before, on the American Muslims. We, the American Muslims, pursuing the dream, having all the luxuries of America, having all these doors open in front of us. And still, if we remain lost in those luxuries, remain lost in pursuing that American dream, which is nowhere there for anybody else remaining, how can we be answerable to Allah? But what did we do for this?
Dr. Bilal Piracha, I mean, I think this is really sobering what you're telling us. If the people of Gaza could send one message to the Muslims here, what would that message be?
Yes, absolutely. This is very important. I will talk about that. But before that, quickly, if I would like to touch that, as you said, what as a Muslim responsibility we have. And what we as ICNA are starting a national campaign from coast to coast, which is Let Gaza Live. And particularly in Dallas, we are trying to do a prototype campaign for that with the further motto of One Dallas for Gaza. Yesterday, as I mentioned about the press conference, we brought all together. And now we are planning from micro to mega level activities.
Right.
So micro will be like, as I said, like the banner drops on each bridge. There should be each bridge banner drop talking about Gaza. Next micro level activity, this we will request everybody to copy that all over the country, that we start showing up in the offices of Congress representatives and senators. Just focus 15 people, 20 people. We don't want big groups. And they reach there with the banners, with the posters, how long you can keep supporting the genocide, how long you can keep supporting the starvation and killing of the kids. And then on the medium level, we reach out to these churches, to the synagogues, to the schools, universities, and keep talking about Gaza, and again, from the complete humanitarian standpoint. And finally, on the mega level, and for all that, we are requesting the big organizations, and hopefully ICNA will declare that September and October month for Gaza. Just we keep in mind that this is going to be the sad second anniversary of the genocide. 2 years have gone in this. So how can we just keep going on with our routine life? Everything can wait at this point. And if those activities, some of you have already planned, bring Gaza in the center of that. Gaza should be center. Even if you are doing some local relief activity, bring Gaza as a spirit in that. So this will be like our request to everybody will be that September and October months for Gaza from micro, medium, and then mega level, that in October we do mega marches all over the country. And there'll be like there's literally millions of people on the road. And if we work on the right side, if we work on the American public, we can bring everybody out, inshallah, Aziz. And then also, I have been requesting the Congress representatives. I had a meeting the other day which did not go pretty good, but what we are, and it was a Muslim representative woman, but what we are requesting that we take the Congress representatives and senators group and we pay their fully, we pay their trip to Gaza, and we say that we will go from here, and if we go to Ben Gurion Airport in Tel Aviv, as an American citizen, we have the right, and there we demand that we want to go to Gaza, along with the influencers, along with our leaders. If this big group of American influencers, leaders, politicians, they go there and they are not let in, then we just sit there. We demand that we be let in so that we can tell the world what's going on in Gaza. Coming back to the message, the two things.
Yeah.
One is urgent level and other is long-lasting. Urgent level thing is that when we were coming out this time, as I mentioned, those armored cars caravan takes us, and then so-called holding points, which means you are just on the road. All the cars are standing there and waiting until the clearance gets. And it could be hours just you kept standing there. So our last holding point coming out of Gaza, that should be the last message that from which we was there. We were literally surrounded by hundreds and thousands of people who were waiting there for some aid to come in. And the armored cars, there are double windows, and we were absolutely, told that no, don't dare open the window or the door. But we were still communicating by the way, like by just a sign language, or they were shouting from outside. And one of them was doing like this. You can imagine. And then another one, he said, like, where are you from? And then he guessed from inside. I said, you guess. And he said, from Pakistan, originally from Pakistan. I said, yes. And he said, nobody did anything for us. Not you, the Pakistanis, not you, the Americans, not the whole humanity is not doing anything. We have only believed in Allah, and we will only complain to Allah. If that does not, ruin our sleep, what else? And then the final thing, which is written literally on their walls, from their CEO offices, the big paintings in the CEO hospital offices, to literally on the wall everywhere, that Al-Qudsu Lana. I just got a message from a PhD professor as well, who said that if you don't want to save the people of Gaza, at least know what is here, what we are standing up for. And that is that this Al-Quds, the Masjid Al-Quds, that belongs to us. This is their goal. This is their mission. That is what they are living for. This is not just otherwise, if you just think about it, their homes are destroyed. So what else is left for them? And that is another discussion point, which we may do inshallah later, that really they want to leave or not leave, and who wants to leave. But collectively, if they are still standing up there, that is a mission much bigger than them. But this is not only their responsibility, it is our responsibility as well. And we will be asked for that Al-Qudsu Lana, this should be the inspiration. And again, we should lose the sleep, but not out of the shame, but out of the inspiration and dedication that we have to stand up for Al-Quds and for our brothers and sisters in Gaza.
Dr. Bilal Piracha, thank you. Jazakallah khair. Thank you so much for your time today. And thank you for all that you do.
I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Please remember to subscribe to our social media and YouTube channels, and head over to our website thinkinmuslim.com to sign up to my weekly newsletter. Jazakallah khair.